Okay, guys. Back again for kind of the last of this lower extremity mobility. Quick talk. Again, this is real basic. I'm not getting too crazy in depth with this. But last thing we're gonna talk about is the glutes. We've done the ankles. We've done the hip flexors. There's obviously a couple other. We did a little bit of adductor stretching with the in the functional warm up type of thing. But last, and certainly not least, but is the glutes. Glutes tend to get pretty tight. You guys are sitting a lot. Yeah, it's kind of a neglected stretch anyways. So, but regardless, we'll go through a good stretch for that, kind of my personal favorite for it. So, with the glutes, when we're activating those glutes, we need to make sure we have good range of motion, going down to the bottom of the squat. These guys can get tight, cranky. If you have any sort of like sciatic type of pain going out into your legs and or snapping across the outside of your hips, so a lot of guys will get a snap right down in this area, kind of that IT band snapping across that trochanter there. Those are all good signs that you probably have tight glutes. I think most people probably have a little bit of tight glutes, but we'll go through a quick, like I said, quick stretch. Again, you want to keep good clean ranges of motion with this as well. You want that sciatic nerve to be able to fish through that piriformis and glutes and all that without getting impinged, so you don't end up with that gnarly radiation down your leg and stuff like that. So stretch for this guy is the figure 4 box stretch. This is, again, a pretty simple one. For me, I have really tight glutes, so this one tends to not be a whole lot of fun, but it's not a difficult stretch to do again. So you can have a couch, a chair. I like just a box jump box. If you're at a gym, you can usually get access to some sort of plyo jump box or something like that. Those are good. I like to do the standing. You can do it laying as well, but standing, if you're really tight, seems to be a little bit easier to control. But you certainly could get down into that pigeon pose that a lot of your yoga type of people get into. So yeah, let's go through it real quick. So let me set this up again. Just real quick cruise through this. All right, so we got my box jump set up, and same rules apply. You can go ahead and roll prior. You can roll your glutes out prior. But the big thing here is going to be, again, working through all different ranges of motion. So I'm going to kick my leg up onto the box here, and then I'm going to drop my body down and across, okay? So this back leg can kind of control my depth. So as I drop down, nose going towards my toe, I can pull away this way, or I could come this way. You'll probably have one side that's tighter than the other. So, but the goal is dropping down into there. You should feel a good stretch right back here in the glutes, all right? So, that's that figure 4 box stretch. The other way that you can do it is if I just get down on the floor, I can obviously lunge back, kick this leg out, and then drop down across that. You've seen people doing that stretch. If you're really, really tight, you can pull a ball up under you and hold here. Same rules as all the other stretches, 2 minutes in each stretch. Go ahead and pre-roll it a little bit, just right through those glutes on the roller. And you can even get into a little bit of a figure 4 position with the roller. So if I get the roller right here, get it back onto my glutes, I could then kick up into that same figure 4 position and then roll right through those glutes there as well. So that's a good way of opening up the glutes, again, especially if you have sciatic issues going out to your leg. Again, simplistic, but fairly effective. So again, stringing this all together is going to be the key when we're doing mobility. Mobility is one of those things that's worthless unless you have consistency with it. So the more consistent we are with this mobility work, the better off we'll be. So we're looking for, hitting it, at least every other day. When you're in a stretch, make sure you stay down there for 2 minutes. You don't want to go down there for 30 seconds. It's just not doing any good. It's just wasting your time, and you're gonna feel like you're never getting better at this. There's a million different static stretches that we can do out there, but again, do that dynamic warm-up before you do your working out. Once you've done your lifting, go ahead and cool down with a little bit of rolling, and then once you've cooled down a little bit with the rolling, go ahead and do a stretch. So you could alternate day to day. One day you're stretching your glutes, next day you're stretching your hip flexors, next day you're stretching your ankles. So you can put it on a 3-day rotation. If you're lifting weights 5 to 7 days a week or 5 to 6 days a week, whatever, you should be stretching some every single day that you're lifting. Again, you should be warming up, you should be cooling down. And it doesn't have to be one of those things. I get that I'm the stretching guy and that's a little bit boring and not super exciting, but what's even less exciting is hurting yourself, being, you know, constantly having a achy back, you know, that whole thing. So being in pain sucks, so go ahead and try to get a little bit of consistency into this, and it will pay off in dividends, I promise. So again, just spend 5 minutes warming up with a dynamic warm-up like that, getting those squats in, getting into the bottom of squat therapy, getting comfortable in these upright positions so you can then catch a snatch, hit a deep, you know, A to G, back squat, front squat, whatever. That'll be to your benefit. And then afterwards, same thing. 5 minutes, you know, I'm asking you for, you know, 10 to 15 minutes of your time just to get limbered up. So that's what I've got. That's the lower extremity. We'll talk about the shoulder and some other stuff that tends to be a little bit trickier, but we'll get there next. So hope that's helpful, and happy stretching.